Today, since it's a quiet day, we're going to take the time to talk about new video games. And while in today's video I'm going to talk about 15 new video games that are coming out very soon, there are two specifically that I'm very excited about, and I think many of you are too. In today's video, on one hand, we're going to mainly talk about the new proposal from Bloober team, the Kronos. The New Dawn, a survival horror title that looks spectacular and recently showed new gameplay. In fact, what you're seeing was published just a few hours ago. And secondly, I'm going to take advantage of today to talk in depth about the new gameplay of Elden Ring Nightreign. Because we already know at least 3 of the playable character classes that we're going to have in this title. I'll also recommend some demos of upcoming titles that already have a demo available. And some other recently released title. Well, let's get comfortable, because on today's program, pure video game, no gossip, nothing about Donald Trump. Let's get started. If you fondly remember those old times of Command & Conquer and Red Alert, this video game will probably catch your attention. What you're seeing is called Tempest Rising, and its proposal is very specific, aesthetic 90s and a global war story in a post-nuclear future. Tempest Rising is a real-time strategy game. That is, a real-time strategy with a campaign and a story. It presents us with a narrative divided into 2 different campaigns, in which it tells us about a universal global conflict. It's leading the Earth to its destruction, and we are military and I don't know what. So much more. Look, this title is not here to reinvent the real-time strategy genre. Far from it. In fact, its developers make it clear. We come to bring you a game from the 2000s through and through, and that's what you're seeing, and that's what you're going to play. If you're willing to spend the $30 or so that this game costs on Steam, because it's also a mid-priced game, which is very good, and hold on to your underwear tightly, because what we're seeing, not only does it look spectacular, but it can make your underwear fly off from how incredible it is. This, folks, is the new video game from Bloober team. This is Kronos from New Dawn. A video game that is set in an alternative Poland of the 80s, which was devastated by an apocalyptic event known as the Great Change. The thing is, in this video game, we will play as an agent of a mysterious secret organization whose mission is to travel back in time before the cataclysm happens, to rescue people who shouldn't have died there because it can change the future or something like that. From what we've been shown, we're looking at a shooter, perhaps a bit like Dead Space, with a graphic proposal that reminds me a lot of Control, because there are a lot of supernatural things and stuff like that. From Bloober team, they said it's a challenging survival horror with high difficulty, and we were inspired by Resident Evil to make it. I don't see much of Resident Evil maybe in what we're seeing, but that's what they said from Bloober team. The combat is going to be tactical, the ammunition is going to be very limited, and enemies can merge with each other to give rise to new enemies. Because there is a dismemberment system, and perhaps if you didn't kill an enemy, you left it half dead and another one approaches. Can they merge to become a stronger enemy? From Bloober, they also said that the game emphasizes resource management and strategic decision making. And we don't have a date yet, but we have this delicious gameplay. Obviously, it must be on PC, the gameplay, right? Why didn't you investigate it? It was key. Surely it's always on PC. We'll see how it looks on consoles, but well, the magic of Unreal Engine 5, which makes everything look spectacular. This video game is not new, as it was released about 2 years ago, but the incredible amount of updates and improvements they put on it make me talk about the title again. This is Lord of the Fallen, a Souls-like, one might say, and one that looks especially spectacular. The thing is that Lord of the Fallen just received its latest update, which adds some very interesting features. If you're looking for a Souls-like to play cooperatively, it will surely catch your attention. And it is that with the latest update of Lord of the Fallen, the friend pass was applied. That is a pass that allows another friend who does not have the title to play your title in online cooperative. That is, if you buy the video game or if you already had it, you can invite a friend who does not have it from any platform to play with you. And all the progress of the story will be saved in your personal game. If you are looking for a game to play with your friends, with your colleagues or whatever, and you like it, this Souls-like is a great option. The game is hard, it's really hard, but at least when you play with two, you share the suffering. Another good news is that the people who developed it just put it on sale now. The game costs $20 on Play, $5 on Xbox Series, and even less on Steam. Steam users are aware of the price differences. The game is currently 70% off. Let's see, you can buy it between a friend and you. Each put in $10 and you can have a whole 40-hour show between the two of you. Is it good? Speaking of spectacular video games that get updated in Space Marine 2. Friends, it has just been updated once again. They added a new mission, they added new weapons, they added new customization options for the colors of your armor, they added a ton of things. The title appears even more spectacular than before. Truly 100%. Recommended if you're also looking for a title with a story to play cooperatively with a buddy. Unfortunately, the game doesn't have any offers right now, other than I believe on PC. Steam offered a 30% discount, but consoles have no offers. However, it's still a great option, and the online is more or less good. We radically changed the genre to comment on a new video game. Totally different from anything we have ever played before in our lives. And that's because Annapurna Interactive has just introduced Luzfoil Photography Simulator. A photography simulator that I don't know if I pronounced it well, I probably didn't pronounce it well. A title that recreates locations from Japan, Italy, Australia, France and Iceland. And it gives you a professional camera with all the settings of a camera, like the light input, the shutter and all that. And it tells you, well, you know what? You have to take these photos. It's a strange game, I know, but surely there's some photography enthusiast out there who finds it interesting. It's a very cheap $15 item. I bring it up as it's one of those titles that perhaps, if your partner doesn't play video games, if you want them to play video games, or you have a family member or whatever, you suddenly say you'd like them to play something different, perhaps without violence, or that's easy to understand. Well, a photography game, why not? And it's always good to find titles to try to engage your partner, your family, your friends, or someone who doesn't play video games in the world of video games. And I thought this title could be, but enough with the nerdy stuff, let's get back to senseless violence. And that's because they just announced a shooter for furries. Yes, that's right, it's not original at all, it's the same thing you've played 200,000 times, but it has furries. 20 versus 20 battles in giant environments with up to 10 different furries and weapons. I'm not sure who this might interest or why I included it in the video, but here it is anyway. It's going to be paid, so it will probably go extinct like the furries did. But if you're interested, it's called Wild Assault and it's on Steam. The Alters is a survival and science fiction video game developed by One Spit Studios, the ones who developed This War of Mine and Frostpunk. And in The Alters, you assume the role of Jan Dolsky, a space worker who gets stranded on a hostile planet after a failed forced landing. And to survive, he will have to clone himself, because it turns out that on this alien planet, there is a mineral that allows you to clone yourself. So this guy, who is alone because he died, everyone starts to clone themselves and starts to make versions of himself in order to crew the ship and get out of here. With this basic premise of the game, you have to survive. In general terms, like in any survival game. Because essentially, The Alters is a survival game. Nothing more than a survival game. Very crazy. With a beautiful science fiction proposal and a quite complex world to approach. I know this because I was able to play the game in an early version last year, and I liked it quite a bit. The news in the matter is that The Alters already has a release date for June 13th, the day it will arrive on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series and PC. And if you're somewhat interested in what you just saw and what I just told you, the game has a demo available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series and PC. A demo that I recommend you try if you were thinking of buying the game. Or a demo that I recommend you try if you're curious, because it's very interesting. It's a game of gathering sticks and pebbles to build your base, but from a different perspective. Holstein is a very strange psychological horror and survival video game developed by a small Polish studio of crazy Poles. The video game is set in a mysterious Polish city from the 90s, and its gameplay combines many different genres and subgenres. Similar to The Alters, this video game was announced long ago. And, well, it still doesn't have a date, actually this, because they say it's going to come out this year, but we still don't know. The plot tells us about Thomas, a somewhat crazy Pole who is looking for his Polish friend. Someone called him saying they were in trouble and needed his help in a certain town. The thing is, Thomas arrives in this town where everything seems to be turned upside down. And there's like a kind of infection that makes people go crazy. The title is a survival horror with everything that entails, from searching for the necessary objects to open doors to killing some kind of zombies. Well, hearing about claustrophobic environments, everything that a survival has, but with an absolutely different pixel art perspective. And also, well, the madness of the Poles. As I've repeatedly said, they're all crazy. While there isn't much news about this game, a new gameplay was shown, and I wanted to share it with you. And also, if you're interested in what you're seeing, I can tell you that there's a demo on Steam to try it right now. I was also able to play this video game in a fairly early version last year, and I quite liked it. With a new trailer announced and a date set, I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you about it. What you're seeing on screen is called Keyborg, and it's a roguelike. You know the drill, one of those games where you start the match, receive random upgrades, and see how far you can get. And when you get killed, you start over. Well, it's a roguelike, but a third-person fighting and combat roguelike. Dystopian future, post-apocalyptic, devastating cyborgs. The game tells the story of a prisoner in a maximum security space prison. The only possible way out for him is to participate in a television show, in which he is made to fight against hordes and hordes and hordes of enhanced humans, cyborgs, and I don't know how much more. If this prisoner manages to reach the top floor of the tower, a ship will be waiting to take him away. And to finally be free. The thing is, well, it's going to take you a long time to get there, because they're going to kill you all the time, because it's a roguelike. The proposal is very classic, we've played it 100 times, but the game is quite fun and it's well executed. It's also a game with a demo on PlayStation, a demo on Xbox, and a demo on PC. So you can try it if you want. And it's also going to be a mid-priced game. While they haven't set the price yet, we understand it's going to cost around $30. And we have new gameplay and information from the new Mario Kart World, the launch game for Nintendo Switch 2. And of course, we'll discuss this title. The main difference between Mario Kart World and the rest of Mario Kart? It's the open world, and they let us see quite a bit of this open world in this new gameplay. Throughout this world, you will be able to investigate different locations, collect collectibles, get little outfits, and also move between the different circuits. The world, by the way, is quite large and has different biomes and different locations and all that. We have confirmed new circuits that were obviously expected and old circuits that we already knew, reimagined. But the most intriguing aspect was the in-depth view of our kart's movement through the scenarios. And what about the new abilities we'll have? Like, for example, the ability to walk on walls or the ability to grind like a skateboard on railings and protrusions. Two aspects of Mario Kart World's gameplay that add a certain amount of different strategy when it comes to navigating the circuits. Because obviously we are going to have more tools to dodge powers and items, to get new items and even to find new shortcuts. They also showed us what the rewind will be like, something similar to what happens in Forza, for example, which allows us to go back a few seconds to try certain parts of the circuit again. This function will obviously be available in single-player mode, and we assume it will not be available in online multiplayer mode, because it wouldn't make any sense. It's good because it will allow us to perfect certain parts of the circuit or find certain hidden things, shortcuts and so on, hidden things, shortcuts and so on, that otherwise might be harder to find. We have over 60 playable and customizable characters, all with their own karts, outfits, and all their typical Mario Kart stuff. And we're also going to have temporary outfits that will be applied to us depending on power-ups or things we find on the tracks. And we're going to have online multiplayer for up to 24 players, local multiplayer for up to 4, and local multiplayer across multiple consoles for up to 8. What they're showing of Mario Kart World looked pretty good, and it looks like a game that's going to last many years, beyond the price and all the controversy surrounding the cost of the title. It seems like a pretty extensive game. Surely over time they will continue to add things to it, as has already happened with Mario Kart 8. I'm going to try to bring it to the channel at launch, because I'm trying to have the Nintendo Switch 2 at launch on the channel. It's difficult given the current situation in the United States, but I remain hopeful. The last thing you lose? Elden Ring and Nightreign will feature 8 different playable character classes, known as Nightfarers or something like that. I don't know. Well, the point is that in Nightreign there is no character creator like in Elden Ring. Here, you definitely choose from preset characters, which initially, as I was telling you, are going to be 8 different ones. Each character will have unique abilities, weapons, and armor. And you might be able to change a few things, but you're going to have to play with that character class, and that's it. This is done this way because they are looking for different synergies and mechanics between the different characters. And suddenly, well, you end up not doing what you do in Elden Ring, and you create a totally devastating character with which you can get through the whole game and all that. Well, regarding the classes of the characters, we already know 3 of the ones we are going to be able to choose. Iron Eye is the first of these 3, a class focused on long-range combat. That is, an archer, to put it in some way, who precisely uses a bow as his main weapon. This character's gameplay relies on skill. It is a relatively weak character since he can't take too many hits, but he can shoot poisonous arrows, magic arrows, fire arrows, charged arrows, and even triple shots. And this character has the unique ability to revive other characters from a distance with certain magic arrows that, well, lift our fallen companion. The Rider is the second character class introduced to us. This one is the close-range tank, the heavy one, the one with a lot of life and pure brute force and environment control. The playstyle of this character focuses on direct combat, not too much strategy, on standing in front of everything and receiving and delivering the strongest blows. The Rider will have the Stone Pillar ability, which is a summoning ability. A stone pillar that allows him to have a certain tactical advantage. As it can be used as cover or as an elevated platform for allies, for example for the Archer. And finally, we have the Duke or the Duchess, an agile and lethal class specialized in dealing point damage to melee enemies. It's a very fast character, who is also weak, who can't take much hit, but it does make very large combos and has very destructive abilities. For example, it has the ability to duplicate the last damage that has been done to the enemy. That is, if one of our teammates generates a lot of damage, we can use that ability to double it again. And it also has the ability to make the character and all your allies invisible for about 8 seconds. That is, the Duchess is a very violent character with a lot of attack and also support. For now, we only know these 3 characters in depth. And as the weeks go by, week after week, until the day 30 of May, we are going to gradually see one character at a time. The character classes in Elden Ring Nightwing seem to be quite thoughtful. As if none of them are strong or important enough to win without the support of others. Remember, it's a 3-player cooperative. It can be played, I think, solo or with 3. Surely playing solo would be very difficult, and the idea or the fun is to play with 3. So far, the characters they've shown us, none of them are self-sufficient, nor could any of them alone against the enemies they've shown us. Because even though the Raider appears strong, heavy, and muscular, well, in which an enemy is sent flying, it's already done. Similar to the Duchess, you can't attack from a distance. You need a Raider or a tank nearby. Not to mention the Archer, it's not possible. Well, you can always shoot arrows from afar. The thing is that the raids in Elden Ring Nightreign are timed. It appears they're balancing things in a way that makes arming yourself a necessity. An interesting and well-balanced team to be able to face the enemies. Regarding the game cycles, how Nightwing is awarded, the nature of raids, etc. We will talk more as we get more information and more official trailers. For now, know that it's a spin-off of Elden Ring. It's not exactly an Elden Ring. It's becoming totally clear. And that it's much more arcade-like. Friends, I hope you enjoyed today's video, discovered new games. And I invite you to try all the demos I presented because they're all interesting. The one about the photography game boost, but it was crap. Does it have a demo? If you want to keep discovering video games, I recommend any of these 2 videos where I talk about more video games. So you can discover where you're going to spend your money in the future. Friends, see you next time. Bye!